As you know, the structure of ILDEC is through the Department of Commerce. We are an arm of the Department of Commerce to help them with their initiatives and to create awareness and to connect basically people. One of the things that attracted me personally to it was the people-to-people diplomacy. That to me is the key thing. The key aspect in terms of ILDEC mission stems from Washington, D.C., from the Department of Commerce. The Secretary of Commerce appoints every one of these professionals who go through a vet process, both them personally and their company, which it does help in terms of making sure the talent on ILDEC is an extraordinary talent that could truly help the most important mission, and that is to help export trade, specifically small enterprise companies from Illinois through the world. That's in a nutshell what it is. I think the key to growing and to continue defining ourselves and to continue reimagining ourselves is the key. One of the things I love working with all the ILDEC members is everyone is unique and different in what they bring to the table, including here today. So that's, I think, the key is to continue to build on it and to continue to get the awareness out to specifically the two stakeholders. A, the exporters who are sitting at their home, or small businesses wondering how they can go out to the world. And B, all of our alliances through our embassies, through our Department of Commerce, through the State Department, all the government agencies, in bringing back that awareness to us here so we can connect the people-to-people diplomacy, which then will connect the economic development.
Wow, thank you so much. People-to-people diplomacy, I love that. So if I'm an exporter here in Illinois, given your experience, what are key things that we should be considering, right? So for someone who is starting to explore exports, you have traveled the world, you've been to different nations, you've participated in a lot of trade engagements as well. So what are some pointers for Illinois exporters that may be considering exports right now?
That's a very large question. But, I think, again, the difference in my era, and I am not that old, but for the record, we didn't have the tools that we have today.
Okay.
Today, we have a lot of tools. The average person has something called the mobile device who connects them to the world. I look at that as a huge advantage to, as they call it, surf the world, right? But really, it's crucial that any exporter defines their business plan. I learned a theory, a business concept back in my day without the tools that we have today called dive. And I never understood it, why it was called dive, but as you will hear, you'll understand why. And when they used to deploy us, which like military, the foreign relations would say, you need to go into that country like you're diving to that country. You need to basically understand that you are going to set those goals and missions and parameters. So I said, okay, what does it stand for? Because I'm sure somebody thought it out. And number one is definition. Define. Define exactly what you want. Even on a grander scale, you may be sitting saying, well, I just want to create a product to export to Canada. But it's okay to visualize or to envision that your product could be throughout the world. The second was investigate. Ensure that today's investigation wasn't like our investigation. Our investigation was old school. We had to go to the country, hire some people in the country, work with people in the country to truly know if our product is viable. Today, again, tools, technology, information, network channels, even different programs such as yours wasn't even available to connect the business community. The V, I just mentioned it earlier, visualize. There's got to be a vision. You have to have a vision, whether it's $1 vision or $1 billion vision, whether it's one product vision or 100 million unit vision. You have to set that vision and work on that vision. Because as they used to tell us, in the days when I would work, is you're not going to recreate the oil company. It's already there. What you're going to do is you're going to grow it and you're going to make it profitable. So their vision was clear to us. Wow. I think a lot of exporters that I talk to sometimes really lack just that simple principle, vision. Last but not least, it's the most important. Earnings. Your earn, your sweat, your equity. What is it? What are you doing it for? Are you doing it for charity? Are you doing it for your wealth? Are you doing it for the wealth of others? Are you doing it? You have to define your earnings in every way, both personal and business.
Wow, thank you so much. Since I've known you, I've also found out that you're very, very, very great at relationships. So when it comes to exporting or business itself, we tend to do business with people we know, like, and trust. What are the key principles, personal principles that you've adopted that have allowed you to continue to build strategic relationships that have helped you to be successful, be it here in the US or even going international? Any tips for those who are looking to go beyond their comfort zone, right? Go into new countries, new places, new regions of the world. What helps people succeed in building new relationships from an international perspective?
If I was going to summarize one word, humble. That's really the key. You have to always look at who you're engaging with. You have to know their culture. You have to know their religion. You have to know what they do for fun. Yes. One of the things that we do as an industry, the oil and gas industry, we spend millions and millions of dollars on building relationships. And we used to call it the core. And the reason was the core because we had a product that was easy to sell, really. I mean, when you think about it, everybody needed energy, especially 20, 30 years ago, where today you have a lot of multiple different energy sources. But we knew that if we can get the trust factor and build the relationship with the country, and primarily we were working with governments. So we were not working with entrepreneurs. Very few entrepreneurs were in the oil and gas outside the United States, including Canada and Mexico, our closest two neighbors. So what would happen is their government would completely work different than our government. So everything that we were trained here to do with our government was really not being able to use outside the United States. Because their government was more engaged in business, because the energy sector was business to them. Now that's on a grand scale, energy. I think when you bring it down a couple of steps or notches, as they say, when it comes to export, especially consumer goods or especially services, I believe 100% relationship of trust, humbleness, and care is your only trade secrets. And that's something every person has. The question, are they willing to utilize and are they willing to show? And I think you said it earlier, the advice I would give, don't hold it in, bring it out.